Stop complaining. Face life with strength. Complaining is a subtle poison. It seeps into the mind quietly, then weakens the spirit little by little. We complain about the weather, about work, about hardships, even about small inconveniences. The more we complain, the more power we hand over to things that should never control our lives. Stoic philosophy teaches us that life is not about what happens to us, but about how we respond. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, wrote, "Do not waste energy complaining about difficulties, for they are already here. Use that energy to confront them with courage." This is the essence of Stoic discipline. Stop lamenting, stop blaming, and start standing tall before reality. Complaints change nothing. Complaining may give a temporary sense of relief, but in the end it only extends suffering. It does not turn rain into sunshine. It does not make challenges easier. It does not transform failure into success. Complaints are nothing more than echoes of our own weakness. Epictetus, once a slave who became one of the greatest Stoic teachers, declared that people are not destroyed by events, but by their judgments about them. The one who constantly complains is carrying a double burden. Instead of accepting reality, he resists it, and that resistance is the true source of misery. Facing life with strength. The Stoics urge us to face life with our heads held high. Whatever comes, poverty, loss, pain, or insult, none of these are reasons to bow to weakness. Strength does not mean feeling nothing. It means choosing not to be ruled by suffering. Seneca reminded us, "The man who bravely faces difficulties is already half victorious." Strength is proof that the soul is greater than the problems pressing upon it. Turning suffering into training. Think of an athlete. Without heavy weights, his muscles will not grow. Without intense training, his body will not become strong. The same is true of the human soul. Without hardship, it cannot become resilient. Every difficulty is a form of training. Loss teaches us to let go. Pain teaches patience. Failure teaches humility. By refusing to complain, we begin to see problems not as curses, but as teachers. Stoic practices for daily life. Notice complaints. When the mind whispers, "Why me?" Pause, take a breath and ask, "What can I do now?" Redirect energy. The energy wasted in complaints can be turned into action, however small. Practice small toughness. Accept minor discomforts without complaint. Traffic, weather, waiting lines. These are training grounds for bigger storms. Reflect at night. Write in a journal, "How many times did I complain today, and how could I have faced it with greater strength?" The modern world of complaints. Today we live in a culture of constant complaining. Social media is filled with endless grievances, outrage, and lament. People compete for sympathy, but rarely search for solutions. Stoic discipline offers another way. By refusing to complain, we break free from this cycle. We train ourselves, and we set an example. We show that there is a stronger way to live, to accept reality with courage, and to act with dignity. The fruits of strength. What do we gain when we stop complaining? Not a life without problems, but a heart that stays calm in spite of them. Not an easier path, but a stronger soul to walk it. Strength brings respect from others, and more importantly, from ourselves. We are no longer victims of circumstance, but masters of our response. And in this mastery, we discover freedom. Freedom from whining, freedom from weakness, freedom from a fragile self. Stop complaining. Face life with strength. For only those who stand firm in the storm will know the calm that follows. Complaints are chains. Discipline is freedom. To complain is to chain yourself to helplessness. Every sigh of "why me" tightens the rope, binding your soul to weakness. The Stoics understood this long ago. Complaints are not harmless. They are shackles that keep us small. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Complaints deny this truth. They give our power away. They say, "The world is greater than me. I am at its mercy." But the Stoic responds, "The world may strike me, but my mind is mine." The illusion of comfort. Why do we complain? Because we expect life to be easy. We think comfort is the natural state of existence, and hardship is unfair. But the Stoics warned us, life is not built to serve our desires. It is indifferent. Seasons change, storms come, people betray, bodies age. Complaints arise when we expect the impossible, that the world should bend to us. Seneca wrote, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears." His words are not despair, but liberation. If hardship is natural, then to complain about it is as foolish as cursing the rain for falling. Instead, use the rain, grow through it. Complaints weaken, action strengthens. Every complaint drains energy. The time spent whining could be spent acting. The voice that says, "It is unfair," could instead say, "What can I build with this?" The Stoic mind transforms complaint into construction. If betrayed, learn resilience. If insulted, learn patience. If struck down, rise stronger. The man who complains remains in the mud. The man who acts builds a ladder. Ancient practices to break the habit. The Stoics trained themselves through simple but powerful habits. Morning resolve. Marcus Aurelius began each day reminding himself, "Today, I will meet with interference, ingratitude, arrogance, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness." By expecting hardships, he removed the element of shock. Complaints are born from surprise. Preparation kills them. Voluntary hardship. Seneca would dress in rough clothes, eat plain bread, and sleep on the ground, asking, "Is this what I feared?" By tasting discomfort willingly, he proved life without luxury was still bearable. Complaints lose power when you discover you need less than you thought. The pause of Epictetus. Epictetus taught his students to pause when struck by misfortune and ask, "Is this under my control?" If yes, act. If no, accept. Complaints vanish when clarity enters. Modern Stoicism in a world of noise. Today, our complaints are amplified by technology. A single grievance becomes a post, shared, liked, and echoed until it feels universal. The more we broadcast complaints, the more they dominate our minds. The Stoic way is the opposite. Reduce noise, increase clarity. Imagine logging off, sitting quietly and asking, "Is this worth my peace?" Most complaints would die in silence. The power of endurance. The Stoics did not aim to escape hardship, but to endure it with dignity. Endurance is not passive. It is active strength, the decision to stay standing when everything pushes you down. Consider a tree in a storm. The weak tree snaps. The strong one bends but holds firm. Complaints are the cracks in the wood. Discipline is the strength of the roots. Freedom through acceptance. Here lies the paradox. When we stop complaining, we do not become powerless. We become free. Complaints make us prisoners of what we cannot change. Acceptance makes us rulers of ourselves. To endure pain with silence, to meet loss without lament, to face insult with calm, that is freedom greater than any throne. Complaints are chains. Discipline is freedom. The The Stoics call us to break those chains, to rise with unshaken strength, and to meet life not as victims, but as victors of the self. Practical Stoic exercises to silence complaints. Philosophy is not just words, it is training. The Stoics did not write to decorate the mind, but to strengthen the soul. They believed that wisdom must be practiced daily, like a soldier drills for war or an athlete trains for the games. Complaining, they knew, was a habit. And like all habits, it can be broken, replaced by discipline. Here are some exercises drawn from the ancient masters that anyone can begin today. 1. Morning preparation. Marcus Aurelius's resolve. When Marcus Aurelius woke each morning, he reminded himself, "Today I will meet with interference, ingratitude, arrogance, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness." Why did he start with such dark words? Because complaints are born from surprise. When we expect life to be smooth, every bump feels unfair. But if we rise each day prepared for difficulty, hardship becomes part of the plan. Try this. Before starting your day, write down 3 challenges you might face. Traffic, criticism, fatigue. Tell yourself, "I am ready." When they come, you will not complain. You will recognize them as expected guests. 2. Voluntary discomfort, Seneca's training. Seneca advised his students to live from time to time as if they had lost everything. Wear simple clothes, eat plain food, sleep without luxury. Then ask, "Is this what I feared?" Complaints often come from fear. Fear of losing comfort, status, or ease. By practicing loss voluntarily, we prove to ourselves that we can live with less. Fear weakens, gratitude grows, and complaints shrink. Modern application. Spend 1 day a week limiting yourself. No social media, no sugar, no entertainment, just silence, simplicity, and presence. It will not kill you. It will make you free. 3. The Stoic pause, Epictetus's question. Epictetus taught, when struck by misfortune, pause and ask 2 questions. Is this within my control? What can I do right now? Complaints usually stop at the first stage. Why is this happening? The Stoic refuses to remain there. If it is within your control, act. If not, accept. Complaining is never the answer to either question. Next time anger rises, take 3 breaths. Whisper to yourself, control or accept. Then move. 4. Journaling, the evening reflection. At night, Stoics reviewed their day. Seneca described it. When the lamp is out and my wife is silent, I examine my whole day and measure my deeds. Take a notebook, write down moments I complained, what triggered it, how I could have responded with strength. Over time, you will see patterns. You will catch complaints earlier. Awareness is the first step to mastery. 5. Gratitude in hardship. The Stoics did not say thank you only for blessings. They gave thanks for difficulties because each one was a chance to grow. Practice this. When something unpleasant happens, instead of saying, "Why me?" whisper, "Thank you for the training." Lost your job? Training for resilience. Stuck in traffic? Training for patience. Insulted? Training for composure. Every hardship is a gym for the soul. Modern relevance. In a world where complaints spread faster than solutions, these exercises are acts of rebellion. Imagine a person who does not grumble about weather, politics, or inconvenience, but meets each moment calmly, even gratefully. Such a person is rare and powerful. By practicing these habits, you become stronger than the crowd. You stop echoing noise and begin radiating steadiness. Others may wonder, how do you stay so calm? And the answer is discipline, not luck. The goal, inner freedom. The purpose of these exercises is not perfection, but progress. Complaints may still rise, but with training, they lose their grip. The mind becomes freer, the spirit calmer, the will unshaken. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. To stop complaining is to claim freedom. It is to live as a ruler of yourself, not a slave of circumstance. Train daily, prepare for hardship, embrace discomfort. Pause before reacting, reflect at night. Give thanks for trials. Do this, and complaints will fade like smoke, leaving behind a soul forged in strength." Memento mori. Stop complaining. Life is short. We live as if time were endless, as if tomorrow were guaranteed. And so, we complain about delays, about discomfort, about small inconveniences. But the truth is harsher and more liberating. Death comes for all. Life is short. Complaints are a waste of the little time we have. The Stoics practiced memento mori. Remember, you must die, not as gloom, but as fuel for courage. To remember death is to remember what matters. Complaints shrink under this light. Death, as the great teacher Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Complaining is the purest form of waste. Every sigh, every grumble, every why me is stolen time. Time that could have been spent acting, loving, creating, or simply being. Marcus Aurelius urged himself, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think." Imagine carrying those words each morning. Would you waste breath on complaints, or would you face life head-on with gratitude and strength? Complaints versus courage. Complaints are born from the illusion of endless tomorrows. We act as if we have time to whine today and still live boldly tomorrow. But what if tomorrow never comes? To complain is to die before dying. To face hardship with courage is to live even in the shadow of death. The Stoics remind us, better to use each moment as training for virtue than to squander it in weakness. Practical memento mori. Practices morning reminder. Whisper to yourself, "This could be my last sunrise." Complaints fade when you see the fragility of dawn. Visualize the end. Imagine your life's end, not with fear, but clarity. Ask, if today were my last, would I waste it complaining? Daily gratitude. Replace complaints with thanks. I woke today. I breathed today. I walked today. Each simple fact is a gift denied to many. Focus on what matters. Death cuts through distraction. Most things we complain about, the weather, waiting, small annoyances, mean nothing in the face of mortality. The gift of urgency. When we forget death, we drift. When we remember it, we awaken. Complaints lose their power because urgency sharpens the will. Epictetus taught, "Let death and exile and all other things which appear terrible be daily before your eyes, but chiefly death, and you will never entertain any abject thought." Death does not paralyze the Stoic, it liberates him. Modern application. In the modern world, death is hidden. We avoid it, deny it, distract ourselves. But this denial makes us weaker. We complain because we think we have time to waste. The Stoic dares to look at death, and in doing so, learns how to live. Think of the last time you lost someone. Did you complain about traffic that day? Did the weather matter? Number. In the presence of mortality, only love, courage, and presence matter. Carry that lesson every day, not only in loss, but in life. Life without complaints. Imagine a life where every moment is measured by its scarcity. Complaints would vanish. In their place, gratitude, action, dignity. To remember death is to stop wasting life. Seneca warned, while wasting our time hesitating and complaining, life will be gone. But if we embrace memento mori, each day becomes sharper, cleaner, more meaningful. Remember death, and you will stop complaining. Face life with strength, for it is short. Live now, while it is still yours. Discipline of emotion, calm in the midst of chaos. The human heart is a storm. Anger, fear, desire, these waves crash endlessly within us. Most people are carried away by them. They complain when anger burns, when fear paralyzes, when desire is denied. But the Stoics taught another way, not to erase emotion, but to master it. Complaints are often the voice of uncontrolled emotion. It is unfair, says anger. I cannot handle this, says fear. I deserve more, says desire. To silence complaints, we must first discipline the emotions that fuel them. Anger, fire without control. Anger is the quickest path to complaint. A harsh word, an insult, a small frustration, and suddenly we spit flames of resentment. Yet Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Anger feels powerful, but it weakens us. It turns us into slaves of others' actions. To complain in anger is to hand power to those who provoked us. Stoic practice: when anger rises, pause, count to 10. Ask, will this matter tomorrow, next year, at the end of life? Most fires burn out in silence if we do not feed them. Fear, the root of weakness. Fear whispers complaints into the mind. This is too hard. I cannot bear it. What if I fail? Epictetus reminded his students, men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them. Fear is not the event, but the story we tell about it. Complaints spring from that story. The Stoic disciplines himself to face fear with reason. He asks, what is truly in my control? Fear loses its teeth when stripped of illusion. Stoic practice: when fear rises, name it clearly. Write it down. Half its power is in the shadows. Bring it to light, and it shrinks. Desire, the endless hunger. Desire is the quietest but strongest source of complaint. We want comfort, pleasure, recognition. When denied, we grumble. Seneca warned, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. The undisciplined desire makes us eternal beggars. The disciplined desire sets us free. Complaints fade when we need less. Stoic practice: practice voluntary denial. Skip a meal, turn off your phone, sleep without luxury. Each act proves that happiness is not chained to desire. Gratitude replaces complaint. Calm as strength. The Stoics never aimed for a cold heart. They aimed for a calm one. Anger felt, but mastered. Fear known, but faced. Desire present, but disciplined. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A man becomes calm by rising above petty things." To rise above emotion is not to reject humanity, but to embrace its highest form, reason, guiding passion. Modern chaos, ancient wisdom. In today's world, anger is rewarded with attention, fear with clicks, desire with endless ads. Complaints multiply because emotions are constantly provoked. But the Stoic path is timeless. Pause, reflect, master yourself. In the midst of noise, choose silence. In the flood of wants, choose simplicity. In the chaos of anger, choose calm. The fruit of discipline. What happens when emotions are mastered? Complaints vanish, insults no longer wound because anger does not rule. Hardships no longer terrify because fear is understood. Desires no longer enslave because gratitude reigns. This is true freedom, not freedom from feeling, but freedom from being ruled by feeling. To master emotion is to master complaint. To master complaint is to master life. Be calm in the storm, and strength will be yours. Discipline is freedom, the Stoic paradox. At first glance, discipline looks like chains. Waking early, saying no to indulgence, restraining emotions, holding the tongue. These appear as restrictions. The complainer says, "Why live like this? Life is short. Enjoy it." Yet the Stoics discovered a paradox. Only the disciplined are truly free. The undisciplined live as slaves, slaves to anger, fear, desire, and habit. They may do what they want in the moment, but they are commanded by impulses, dragged by cravings, ruled by others' opinions. That is not freedom. That is bondage disguised as liberty. The illusion of false freedom. Modern culture sells a cheap freedom. Do whatever you feel. Indulge every craving. Follow every emotion. But look closer. The man who cannot stop scrolling his phone is not free. The woman who cannot live without approval is not free. The person who cannot endure discomfort without complaint is not free. Seneca warned, "No man is free who is a slave to his body." True slavery is not external chains. It is the inability to master yourself. Self-mastery is sovereignty. Epictetus, once born a literal slave, taught, "No man is free who is not master of himself." He knew that true power does not come from controlling others, but from controlling one's own mind. The disciplined man is sovereign. He may lack wealth, fame, or indulgence, but nothing owns him. He can fast and still be content. He can lose comfort and still smile. He can be insulted and remain calm. This is freedom untouchable by the world. The paradox explained discipline restricts desire and creates contentment. Discipline restrains anger and creates peace. Discipline limits indulgence and creates strength. Discipline shapes time and creates space for purpose. The complainer thinks discipline steals life. The Stoic knows it saves life from waste. The musician's lesson. Think of a musician. At first, hours of practice feel like chains, scales, drills, repetition. But only through discipline does freedom emerge, the ability to play any melody with grace. Without discipline, the hands fumble. With it, the soul sings. Life is the same. Discipline is practice. Freedom is the song. Modern practices of freedom through discipline. Time blocking. Guard your hours. Say no to distractions. This restriction creates freedom to create, reflect, and live meaningfully. Digital fasting. Step away from screens. What seems like deprivation becomes freedom to think, rest, and breathe. Emotional mastery. Restrain the quick reaction. In the pause, you are free to choose wisely rather than be dragged by impulse. Financial simplicity. Spend less than you earn. Discipline over desire creates freedom from debt and slavery to status. The courage to say, no. Freedom is not saying yes to everything. It is the courage to say no, to waste, to indulgence, to weakness. Every complaint is a cry of someone who has not said no. The Stoic, disciplined and calm, lives without those cries. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the highest freedom, not the world obeying you, but you mastering yourself. The gift of discipline. Discipline is not punishment. It is a gift you give to yourself. It is the path that turns weakness into strength, chaos into calm, slavery into sovereignty. The world may chain your body, but if your mind is disciplined, you walk as a free man. Discipline is not the enemy of freedom. Discipline is freedom. And the one who stops complaining, embraces discipline, and masters himself, He alone walks as a king in a world of slaves. Discipline in suffering, turning pain into strength. Suffering is universal. Every life, no matter how rich or privileged, will meet pain, loss, and hardship. To complain in suffering is natural, but for the Stoics, it is also weakness. Pain is not an enemy, it is a teacher. Complaining blinds us to its lesson. Discipline allows us to endure, to learn, and to emerge stronger. Suffering as training. Epictetus, born a slave and crippled in body, said, "Difficulties show what men are. In easy circumstances, anyone can manage. But if you can be calm and brave in suffering, that is true greatness." The Stoics saw hardship as the gym of the soul. Just as muscles grow under weight, character grows under trial. Complaining lifts nothing, discipline lifts everything. The illusion of unfairness. Complaints often begin with, "This is unfair," but Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Whatever happens to you was prepared for you from the beginning of time." To the Stoic, suffering is not unfair, it is inevitable. Rain falls, storms come, bodies age, people betray. To cry unfair is to demand a world other than the one that exists. Discipline accepts reality, and in acceptance finds peace. The role of pain. Seneca taught, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Pain is not meaningless. It sculpts, it tests, it reveals. Complaining hides this gift. Discipline unwraps it. Ask, what is this pain teaching me? Patience, courage, gratitude. Each hardship carries a seed of virtue. To complain is to drop the seed. To endure with discipline is to plant it. Stoic practices for enduring suffering. Reframe the pain. Say, "This is not punishment, this is training." A long wait becomes practice in patience. An illness becomes practice in endurance. Small acts of control. In great suffering, focus on the little you can control: your breath, your words, your attitude. Complaints waste energy. Small actions build strength. Voluntary hardship. Train yourself in small discomforts: cold showers, fasting, silence. Then, when greater pain comes, the mind says, "I have prepared for this." Focus on the endurance, not the escape. Complaining seeks escape. Discipline seeks endurance. And in endurance, freedom is found. Modern suffering. Today's world promises comfort. Yet even in wealth, suffering finds us. Illness, loss, anxiety. Many collapse because they have never trained the soul. Complaints multiply across screens as if broadcasting pain makes it lighter. But Stoicism teaches only discipline makes it lighter. Complaints add weight. Courage lifts it. The dignity of endurance. There is dignity in suffering endured with silence. The soldier at his post, the mother in her labor, the elder in illness, all who endure without complaint carry a quiet nobility. They inspire others, not with words, but with example. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining." These simple words are the heart of Stoic strength. The fruit of pain, what comes from disciplined suffering, resilience, compassion, wisdom. The one who has suffered without complaint becomes unshakable. He knows life's weight and has carried it. He fears less, needs less, complains less. Pain leaves scars. But with discipline, those scars shine like medals. They are proof. I have endured. I have grown. I am stronger than my pain. Suffering is not an excuse to complain. It is an invitation to grow. Embrace it with discipline, and pain becomes power. Discipline in relationships, strength amid love and conflict. Life is never lived alone. We are sons and daughters, friends and partners, citizens and leaders. Much of our joy and much of our pain comes from relationships. And with them come endless opportunities to complain about betrayal, about misunderstanding, about others' faults. The Stoics remind us, complaints will not heal bonds, discipline will. Love with discipline. Love without discipline becomes possession, jealousy, and fear of loss. Love with discipline becomes freedom. Seneca said, "He who loves with moderation will love for a long time." The complainer in love says, "Why did they not treat me as I deserve?" But the Stoic says, "I love by giving, not by demanding." Complaints fade when love is seen as service, not ownership. Friendship guided by virtue. True friendship, said the Stoics, is not built on pleasure or convenience, but on virtue. Friends are not mirrors for complaints, but companions in growth. Epictetus warned, when someone is properly grounded in life, they do not need to look outside themselves for approval. The undisciplined complain when friends fail to please. The disciplined treasure loyalty, honesty, and courage. Conflict without complaint. Conflict is inevitable. People will insult, disappoint, betray. The complainer magnifies the wound, repeating it in words. The Stoic responds with discipline. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you wake in the morning, tell yourself, 'Today, I will meet the busybody, the ungrateful, the arrogant, but none of them can harm me.' Complaints fuel conflict. Discipline diffuses it. To pause, to speak with calm, to understand ignorance, this is Stoic mastery. Family duties, family life is fertile ground for complaints. Parents about children, children about parents, partners about each other. But Stoics saw duty, not grievance. To care for family is not a burden, but an expression of virtue. The disciplined parent guides with patience. The disciplined child honors with respect. Complaints shrink when love is lived as responsibility, not entitlement. Discipline of speech. Words are weapons. In relationships, undisciplined speech, gossip, harshness, lies, destroys trust. The Stoics practice control of the tongue. Speak only what is true, necessary, and kind. A disciplined word heals more than 100 complaints. Compassion without weakness. Stoic discipline is not coldness. It is compassion with clarity. To help others is duty, but not to indulge their weakness. The disciplined friend listens, but does not sink into the same complaints. He lifts instead of sinking. Modern application. In the modern world of constant communication, relationships are strained by comparison, envy, and endless complaints. Stoic discipline is urgent. Listen more, speak less. Complaints decrease when understanding grows. Forgive quickly. Anger drains more than it heals. Serve without demand. Give love and loyalty freely, without complaint of return. Expect imperfection. People are flawed. Discipline accepts this, and peace follows. The power of Stoic relationships. A disciplined relationship is calm, loyal, resilient. Love endures without chains. Friendships grow without envy. Conflicts pass without hatred. Complaints vanish, replaced by service, patience, and virtue. Relationships are not arenas for complaint, but training grounds for discipline. Love with freedom, befriend with virtue, face conflict with calm, and you will build bonds unbreakable by time or trial. Discipline of time, guarding life's most precious treasure. Time is life. Every complaint, every wasted hour of grumbling is a slice of life thrown away. Seneca, in his essay on the shortness of life, warned, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." The complainer wastes twice, first in suffering what he dislikes, and second in speaking endless word about it. The disciplined man may suffer, but he suffers once, silently, briefly, then moves on. Time as the true wealth gold can be stolen. Health can fail, fame can fade, but time is the currency no man can replenish. Every moment spent complaining is a theft from your own future. Ask yourself, how many hours have been lost in regret, in blame, in if only? The Stoics answer, too many. The remedy, discipline, the illusion of endless days. Most people live as though life is endless. They complain as if there will always be more time to act, to love, to live. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Complaints vanish when death is remembered. When time is seen as fragile, urgency awakens. Why waste an evening in bitterness when it may be the last? Discipline in daily use of time. Stoic discipline transforms time from sand slipping away to gold invested wisely. Morning resolve. Begin the day with clarity. Ask, what will I use this day for? Guard against triviality. Small distractions pile into wasted lives. Say no. Focus on the essential. Do less, but do it with virtue. The rest is noise. Evening review. Seneca advised reflection at night. Where was time used well? Where was it lost? Correct tomorrow what was missed today. Complaints as thieves of time. Every complaint is a delay. Instead of acting, we speak. Instead of solving, we whine. The disciplined man redirects that energy. Not, why me, but what now? This shift redeems hours otherwise lost. The undisciplined spends years saying, someday. The disciplined says, now. Voluntary poverty of time. Just as Stoics practiced living with little to master desire, they practiced living with less to master time. Imagine today is your last. How carefully would you spend it? The Stoic trains to live this way daily. Seneca said, life is long if you know how to use it. Discipline makes even short years rich. Complaint makes even long years empty. Modern distractions, ancient remedy. Today, time is stolen not only by complaints, but by endless noise, scrolling, arguments online, chasing approval. The Stoic answer is unchanged. Discipline. Guard your hours as fiercely as treasure. Ask, will this matter in death? If not, why waste time on it now? The reward of disciplined time. What is gained by guarding time? Peace, purpose, the quiet knowledge that life is being lived, not wasted. The complainer looks back and sees years lost. The Stoic looks back and sees life invested. Do not complain that life is short. Discipline your time, and life will be long enough. Discipline in work, labor as a path to greatness. Many complain about work. It is too hard, too long, too meaningless. Yet the Stoics taught that work is not a curse, but a field where virtue grows. Complaining shrinks the soul. Discipline strengthens it. Work as duty, not punishment. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each morning, you are born to work as a horse is born to run, as a bee is born to make honey. To work is to live according to nature. To complain about labor is to complain about life itself. The undisciplined sees work as chains. The Stoic sees it as training, discipline shaping the soul through daily effort. Complaints poison labor. The complainer wastes energy twice, in the task itself and in grumbling about it. What takes an hour with focus takes a day with complaint. Complaints make light work heavy and heavy work unbearable. Discipline transforms both. The Stoic standard, excellence without applause. Epictetus taught, do your duty without depending on recognition. The disciplined worker seeks excellence not for applause, but for integrity. Complaints vanish when the reward is not praise, but the quiet knowledge of a task well done. The dignity of every task. No work is too small when done with discipline. Seneca said, "Whatever can happen to a man can happen to me. I am not exempt." To complain that some work is beneath you is arrogance. To embrace it with discipline is greatness. The Stoics saw dignity in every role: soldier, farmer, emperor, slave. Discipline, not status, determined honor. Practical Stoic habits in work. Begin with purpose. Each day, recall why you work, not for wealth alone, but for service, for growth, for strength. Do one thing at a time. Scattered work invites complaint. Focus invites calm. Accept hardship as training. The long hours, the difficult boss, the failures, these are weights to strengthen endurance. Detach from applause. Work for virtue, not vanity. Then no lack of recognition can sour your labor. Creation as legacy. Beyond labor lies creation. Writing, building, leading, raising children. Here too, complaints destroy. It is too hard. It will fail. The Stoic answers, hardship is part of creation. Failure is part of greatness. Marcus Aurelius never sought fame, yet his private notes became the Meditations, still shaping lives after 2 millennia. His discipline in writing, not his complaints, left legacy. Modern complaints, ancient remedies. Today, work is cursed by endless complaining about bosses, hours, pay, tasks. Screens amplify dissatisfaction. Yet the Stoic path is timeless. Embrace duty with discipline, and work becomes not burden but freedom. Complaints enslave, discipline liberates. Fruits of disciplined work, strength of character. Labor endured without complaint builds resilience, peace of mind. Focus silences grumbling thoughts. Excellence. Repeated discipline sharpens skill until mastery emerges. Legacy. Work done with discipline outlives the worker. Work is not punishment. Work is practice. And discipline in work turns even the smallest task into greatness. Discipline of desire. Freedom from the chains of pleasure. Desire is natural. To eat, to drink, to rest, to enjoy beauty, none of these are evil. The Stoics never demanded we hate pleasure. But they warned, when desire rules, man is no longer free. Complaining often grows from this slavery. I do not have enough. I deserve more. Why is pleasure denied me? Discipline dissolves these chains. The trap of endless want. Modern life screams, more, newer, faster. The complainer obeys, always chasing the next delight, never satisfied. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." The undisciplined man is never rich, for his hunger multiplies with each indulgence. His complaints are endless. Why is there not more? Stoic freedom in moderation. The Stoics practiced moderation, not denial. Epictetus said, "Freedom is not achieved by satisfying desire, but by eliminating it. To enjoy wine, but not to be destroyed without it. To enjoy comfort, but not to collapse without it. This is discipline." The complainer worships pleasure. The disciplined welcomes it, but bows to none. Voluntary simplicity. Seneca trained himself in simplicity, rough clothing, coarse food, humble shelter. Not to despise luxury, but to free himself from fear of losing it. He wrote, "Set aside a number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself, 'Is this the condition I feared?'" By choosing less, the Stoic proves he can live free of complaint, even without luxury. Desire as test, not master. The Stoics did not flee pleasure. They tested themselves against it. Can you enjoy without clinging? Can you taste sweetness without greed? Pleasure is not poison. Undisciplined craving makes it so. The disciplined savor briefly, then let go. The complainer clings, and when it vanishes, cries, "Life is unfair." Practical Stoic exercises fast. Occasionally, skip a meal, feel hunger, and remind yourself you are still alive. Limit consumption. Buy what is needed, not every craving. Reframe pleasure. See luxury as bonus, not necessity. Practice saying no. Refuse small indulgences to strengthen will. Each small act of control silences complaints before they form. Modern slavery of desire. Advertisements, endless scrolling, quick dopamine hits. Modern life builds a culture of complaint. I do not have what they have. Stoic discipline is rebellion. I have enough. Freedom today is not in owning everything, but in needing little. The reward of disciplined desire. What fruits grow from mastering desire? Contentment. Want less, complain less. Freedom. No object, no pleasure holds you hostage. Strength, hunger, loss, denial. None defeat you. Gratitude. Simple joys shine brighter when not drowned in excess. Epictetus taught, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. To master desire is to master complaint. To live with discipline is to live free. Pleasure then becomes servant, not master. Discipline of anger, mastery in the midst of conflict. Of all emotions, anger may be the loudest source of complaints. They insulted me. They treated me unfairly. They did not give me what I deserve. These are the songs of the complainer, and anger is the music that drives them. The Stoics warned, anger is slavery. To give yourself to rage is to surrender your freedom. Anger as weakness. Seneca wrote an entire treatise on anger, where he declared, no plague has cost the human race more. Anger burns cities, shatters families, and poisons the heart. The complainer thinks anger gives power. In truth, it steals control. The one who masters anger has mastered himself. The Stoic pause Epictetus advised, before reacting, pause. Ask, will this matter in an hour? A day? A year? Often, anger shrinks when measured against time. What feels unbearable now becomes trivial tomorrow. The disciplined pause silences the complainer within. Conflict without complaint. Marcus Aurelius prepared himself each morning. Today I shall meet with the busybody, the ungrateful, the arrogant, the deceitful, the envious, the unsocial. His response, not complaint, but calm acceptance. Conflict was inevitable, but complaint was optional. The Stoic does not deny conflict. He faces it with reason, not rage, with discipline, not destruction. Transforming anger into strength. Anger contains energy. Untamed, it destroys. Disciplined, it builds. The Stoics channeled anger into courage and justice. Instead of complaining, this is unfair, they acted, what is within my power to correct? Discipline converts anger's fire into fuel for action. Complaints only waste its heat in smoke. Practical Stoic practices against anger. Delay the response. Count, breathe, walk away. Time cools fury. Lower the voice. Speaking softly when angry confuses both enemy and emotion. Reframe the offense. See insults as ignorance, not injury. Focus on control. Another's action is not yours. Your reaction is. Practice forgiveness, not for the other's sake, but for your own peace. Modern anger, ancient wisdom. Today, outrage is constant. Online arguments, political divides, personal offenses magnified on screens. Complaints flood from anger. The world is against me. Stoicism is the antidote. Accept what cannot be changed. Act where you can, and let the rest pass. The disciplined do not waste life in outrage. They reserve strength for building, not breaking. The reward of mastery. To master anger is to end countless complaints. Insults lose sting. Conflict loses chaos. Peace enters where rage once ruled. Seneca said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." Delay breeds discipline. Discipline breeds calm. Calm breeds strength. Complaints are the voice of anger. Discipline silences them. That silence, true strength is born. Discipline in suffering, turning pain into strength. Suffering visits every human life. Illness, loss, betrayal, hardship. No one escapes. Yet while suffering is universal, complaining is optional. The Stoics taught that pain is not our enemy. Our reaction to pain is. Pain as teacher, not enemy. Epictetus, who walked with a crippled body, declared, "Do not seek for things to happen as you wish, but wish for them as they happen." He did not complain about his body. He trained his soul through it. Marcus Aurelius, surrounded by war and plague, wrote in his Meditations, "If it is endurable, then endure it. If it is not, then it will end." Pain, to the Stoics, was not a curse, but a test. Complaints multiply. Suffering, the complainer suffers twice, once in the pain and again in his protest. Why me? This is unfair. Every word of complaint adds weight to the burden. The disciplined sufferer feels pain, but refuses the second blow. Stoic armor against hardship. Seneca likened suffering to fire. It consumes the weak, but tempers the strong. Discipline does not erase pain. It forges it into resilience. The Stoic puts on armor, acceptance, patience, and courage. Acceptance, resist nothing. Say this too is part of life. Patience. Pain is often temporary. Endurance makes it shorter. Courage. To face hardship without complaint is a victory of the soul. Modern echoes of suffering. Today, suffering wears new clothes. Anxiety, stress, financial struggle, loneliness. The instinct is the same. Complain, escape, numb it with distraction. But the Stoic discipline still applies. Embrace hardship as training, not torture. Anxiety, train patience. Stress, train focus. Loss, train gratitude for what remains. Failure, train courage to rise again. Practical Stoic, exercises in suffering. Voluntary discomfort. Take cold showers, walk in rain, sleep without luxury. Learn to endure small pain to prepare for greater. Reframe the pain. See it as lesson, not curse. Illness teaches patience. Betrayal teaches caution. Loss teaches love's value. Daily reflection. Ask each night, what difficulty did I face and how did I respond? Improvement begins in review. Gratitude amid hardship. Even in darkness, list what light remains. Gratitude silences complaint. The dignity of endurance. The Stoic suffers with dignity. He does not broadcast his pain for pity, nor hide it in shame. He endures calmly, teaching by example. His silence is not weakness, it is mastery. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. The disciplined man is free even in chains, rich even in poverty, strong even in pain. From complaint to courage. Suffering is not escape from life, it is life's forge. Complaints melt character, discipline hardens it. Every hardship becomes a chance to grow in strength, wisdom, and compassion. Without suffering, no courage exists. Without loss, no gratitude. Without pain, no resilience. Do not complain of suffering. Embrace it. Transform it. For in suffering endured with discipline, the soul becomes unbreakable. Discipline of speech, the power of measured words. Man is the only creature gifted with speech. Yet this gift, undisciplined, becomes a curse. Words can heal or wound, build or destroy, inspire or corrupt. Complaints are proof of words misused, endless noise that solves nothing. The Stoics taught, to master your words is to master yourself. The danger of loose tongues. An uncontrolled tongue spreads chaos. Gossip erodes trust. Lies poison relationships. Anger hurled in words, scars deeper than steel. Complaints, spoken daily, rot the spirit and infect others. Seneca warned, the tongue is the only part of the body that grows sharper with use. Words once spoken cannot return. What was said in anger remains forever. Discipline is the guard at the gate of speech. Stoic silence. Epictetus advised, let silence be your general rule, or say only what is necessary and in few words. Silence is not weakness, it is strength. To pause before replying, to listen more than speaking, to refuse gossip and complaints. This is the discipline of speech. Marcus Aurelius set his measure. If it is not true, do not say it. If it is not useful, do not say it. Imagine a world where every mouth lived by these words. Complaints would vanish. Complaints as wasted. Breath complaining is a misuse of speech. The complainer spends breath on noise instead of action. He multiplies pain by narrating it. He spreads weakness to others. The disciplined man may feel hardship, but wastes no words feeding it. He chooses silence, or he chooses words that build. The Stoic ideal of speech. For the Stoics, good speech is marked by three traits: simplicity, clear, without ornament or flattery; truth, free from lies, exaggeration, or gossip; usefulness, serving virtue, helping others, teaching wisdom. The disciplined tongue is not loud, but it is strong. It does not seek applause, but clarity. Practical exercises for disciplined speech. Pause before replying. Count to 3. Let impulse cool. Ask 3 questions. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Daily review. Reflect on words spoken. Did they build or waste? Practice silence. Dedicate time each day to say nothing. Strength grows in restraint. Replace complaints. Instead of, it's too hard, say this is my training. Modern noise, ancient wisdom. Today we live drowned in words, posts, tweets, arguments, endless chatter. Complaints echo louder than truth. But the Stoic discipline still saves. Fewer words, more meaning. Less noise, more wisdom. To speak less is to complain less. To choose words is to choose strength. The dignity of measured words. There is quiet power in the one who does not waste words. When he speaks, people listen. His silence commands more respect than another's noise. His few sentences weigh more than another's speeches. Discipline gives dignity to speech. Complaints weaken it. Guard your tongue, and you guard your soul. Waste no words on complaints. Speak with truth, or remain in silence. Discipline of thought, mastery over the inner world. Complaints do not always come from the mouth. Many of them live quietly in the mind. Why is life like this? What if tomorrow is worse? Why are they unfair? An undisciplined mind is a breeding ground for restlessness. The Stoics believed that our life is shaped not by events, but by our thoughts about them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Thought is the root of complaints. Every complaint begins with a thought. A person whose mind is chaotic will live in chaos. A person whose mind is disciplined will remain calm, even if the world collapses around him. Epictetus reminded his students, "It's not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. The problem is never the rain. It is the thought that says, "Why must it rain now?" Illusion and worry. An undisciplined mind is enslaved by two ghosts, regrets of the past and fears of the future. Complaints are born from both. If only I had, or what if tomorrow? Stoic discipline trains the mind to remain in the present moment. The past is dead. The future has not yet arrived. Complaints can only survive in these shadows. Stoic practices for the mind. Morning reflection. On waking, say, "Today I will meet challenges, and I am prepared." Mental filtering. When thoughts arise, ask, "Is this useful? Is this within my control? If not, let it go." The Stoic pause. In anxiety, breathe deeply and ask, what is fact and what is just interpretation? Evening review. Before sleep, examine your thoughts. Did you waste time on complaints? The mind as a fortress. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. The mind is the last fortress. The world may strike the body, but it cannot penetrate a mind guarded by discipline. Complaints are signs the gates are open. Discipline is the lock that keeps them shut. Modern noise, ancient wisdom. Today, the mind is flooded with notifications, headlines, and endless opinions. Without discipline, it becomes a noisy marketplace of complaints. The Stoic answer: silence the noise, master your focus, choose your thoughts. Limit media intake. Not everything deserves space in your mind. Practice silence. 10 minutes of stillness is worth more than 1,000 distractions. Focus on control. Let what you cannot control pass as it must. Fruits of a disciplined mind: clarity, free from illusions and drama. Calm, untouched by fear and worry. Freedom. The mind becomes a companion, not a prison. Wisdom, the ability to separate what matters from what is useless. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." A disciplined mind refuses to suffer twice, once from reality, and again from complaints born of imagination. Complaints are born in thought. Discipline shuts the door, and in clear thought, the soul finds peace. Discipline of purpose, walking the straight path of meaning. A life without purpose drifts like a ship without a rudder. It goes where the wind blows, sometimes forward, often in circles, and at last, nowhere. Complaints thrive in such a life, for without direction, every obstacle feels like misfortune, every delay feels like injustice. The Stoics warned, to live without purpose is to waste the most precious gift, time. The danger of aimlessness. Seneca wrote, "If a man does not know to what port he is sailing, no wind is favorable." Without purpose, the days slip into distraction, the years into regret. People chase wealth, applause, or comfort, mistaking them for purpose. Yet when gained, they bring no peace. Complaints then fill the void. Why am I still unhappy? Why is life unfair? Purpose as discipline. For the Stoics, purpose was not vague ambition, but alignment with virtue, living according to reason and nature. True purpose is not what you achieve, but who you become. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about others when you neglect to direct your own." Purpose requires discipline, to focus inward, to choose wisely, to resist distraction. Empty ambition versus true direction. Ambition cries for recognition, status, more power. Purpose seeks character, justice, and contribution. Ambition complains when ignored. Purpose endures quietly, for it is its own reward. Epictetus taught, First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. Discipline and purpose means not scattering effort, but moving steadily toward what matters most. Stoic practices for discipline of purpose. Daily alignment. Each morning, recall your highest values: courage, justice, wisdom, temperance. Let these guide the day. Examine motives. Before action, ask, am I seeking applause or am I seeking virtue? Set limits. Refuse pursuits that drain time without meaning. Nightly review. At day's end, ask, did I walk my straight path or wander in distractions? Modern drift. In today's world, distractions multiply. Social media, empty entertainment, endless comparison. Aimlessness has become normal. Complaints echo. I have no time. I feel lost. Life is unfair, yet the truth is simple. Purpose is not found, it is chosen. Discipline is the anchor. To live with purpose is to cut off what does not matter and to pour life into what does. The fruits of disciplined purpose focus. No longer scattered by every distraction. Peace. Complaints fade, for every hardship serves the path. Resilience. Purpose turns pain into training. Meaning. Each day adds weight to life rather than emptiness. Seneca observed, life is long if you know how to use it. Purpose is the knowing. Discipline is the using. To complain is to wander. To discipline purpose is to walk straight. And the straight path leads not to applause, but to peace. Discipline in death, the freedom of memento mori. Most people live as if they will never die. They delay what matters. They chase what is trivial. They complain about every discomfort, as if time were endless. The Stoics called this the greatest illusion. You act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire, Seneca warned. Death is not far. It walks beside us, unseen but constant. To remember death, memento mori, is not to despair. It is to live awake. Fear of death, fuel of complaints. Why do people complain so much? At the root lies fear. Fear that life is short. Fear that pleasures may end. Fear that death will strip away everything. Yet this fear poisons life long before death arrives. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." Complaints come from those who live half-heartedly, blind to the brevity of time. Memento mori as discipline for the Stoics, meditating on death was not morbid but liberating. If today were your last, would you waste it on complaints? If tomorrow were not promised, would you squander it in anger or envy? Epictetus taught, keep death and exile before your eyes each day, along with everything that seems terrible, and you will never have a base thought, nor will you have excessive desire. To remember death is to discipline life. It clarifies priorities. It silences trivial complaints. Practices of mortality. Morning reminder. Begin the day with, this may be my last sunrise. Let me live well. Evening review. Close the day with, if I do not wake, I have lived with virtue. Simplify choices. Ask, if death came tomorrow, would this still matter? Courage in hardship. When facing pain, recall, I too must die. Why fear what is natural? The gift of mortality. Ironically, death gives life its sweetness. Without endings, nothing has urgency. Without brevity, nothing has meaning. Complaints vanish when we see how short the play is. Better to act, to love, to serve, than to waste the hour in murmurs. Seneca wrote, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Memento mori transforms fear into action and complaint into gratitude. Modern avoidance, ancient wisdom. In our age, death is hidden, sanitized, pushed out of sight. We speak of it rarely, and when we do, it is with dread. Yet avoidance only multiplies fear. The Stoics walk toward death in thought daily, and so walk through life fearless. The man who accepts death cannot be enslaved. He does not complain when fortune changes, for he knows all must end. He does not delay kindness, for he knows tomorrow may not come. The fruits of remembering death: urgency. No time wasted in complaints. Courage. Fear of loss loses power. Gratitude. Every moment becomes precious. Freedom. Death, accepted, frees us from its shadow. To complain is to act as if life is endless. To remember death is to live fully. Discipline accepts the end and finds strength in the now. Discipline in community, serving without complaint. No one lives alone. To be human is to belong, to family, to friends, to society, to the great whole. The Stoics reminded us, what is not good for the hive is not good for the bee. Marcus Aurelius saw himself not as an isolated emperor, but as a part of humanity. Yet many complaints arise from living with others. People are selfish. People are ungrateful. People do not understand me. To the Stoic, these are not reasons to withdraw, but opportunities to practice discipline. The web of duty Stoicism teaches that service is not charity, it is duty. Just as the hand exists for the body, we exist for one another. To complain about serving others is to deny our own nature. Seneca wrote, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." The disciplined soul does not waste energy in resentment, but fulfills responsibility with steadiness. How complaints poison community. Complaints in relationships breed bitterness. In family, complaints turn duty into burden. In friendship, they turn loyalty into demand. In society, they turn cooperation into conflict. Discipline removes this poison. The Stoic serves, not because others are perfect, but because service itself is virtue. Stoic practices of service expect imperfection. Marcus Aurelius began each day reminding himself, "You will meet the arrogant, the ungrateful, the treacherous." By expecting flaws, he was never shocked into complaint. Act justly, anyway. The Stoic asks not, "Will others repay me?" but "Is this right to do?" Balance self and others. Service does not mean self-destruction. Discipline also protects time for inner growth. Transform conflict. Instead of complaining, the Stoic reframes, "This is training for patience, justice, and self-control." Modern relevance. Today, many withdraw into isolation or drown in cynicism. Social media magnifies complaints against others. People are fake. Society is broken. No one cares. But the Stoic answer is simple. Serve where you can, quietly and steadily. Complaints change nothing. Action builds everything. The fruits of disciplined service. Patience. Complaints fade when imperfections are expected. Compassion. Service softens bitterness. Strength. Carrying burdens with dignity builds endurance. Meaning. A life for others is never wasted. Marcus Aurelius saw his own reign as a service, not a privilege. He wrote, "What brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee. To live selfishly is to weaken oneself. To serve is to fulfill our nature. Complaints divide. Discipline unites." The Stoic serves without bitterness and finds strength in giving. Discipline and endurance, the power of consistency. Greatness is rarely built in a single moment. It is forged in repetition, in small, steady acts, done faithfully, day after day. Complaints fade, but habits remain. The Stoics knew that character is not the product of sudden passion, but of consistent discipline. The illusion of sudden change. People often cry, "Why am I not strong yet? Why does nothing change?" They complain because they expect transformation overnight. But Stoicism rejects this illusion. Strength is built as water shapes stone, slow, unseen, but unstoppable. Seneca observed, "Nothing worthwhile happens overnight. Greatness is the sum of small efforts repeated. The complainer gives up too early. The disciplined endure." Endurance as discipline. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "If it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining." Endurance is not blind suffering. It is the calm acceptance that trials are training. Every repetition, rising early, controlling anger, refusing excess, adds a brick to the fortress of the soul. Complaints tear bricks down. Consistency builds them up. The Stoic habit of steadiness. Daily routine. Begin and end each day with reflection, as Marcus did in his meditations. Measure progress, not by leaps, but by steps. Am I calmer today than yesterday? Resist excuses. The complainer finds reasons to stop. The disciplined find reasons to continue. Turn fatigue into training. Each moment of weariness is an invitation to prove endurance. Modern impatience. Our age worships speed, instant results, instant gratification. But impatience breeds complaints. "It's too hard. It's too slow. I can't keep going." The Stoic response, "Consistency is victory. Each day of discipline, however small, is a triumph. Each act of endurance, however quiet, shapes an unshakable soul." Fruits of endurance resilience. Hardship no longer breaks you. It trains you. Trust. Others rely on the steady, not the erratic. Strength. True power is persistence, not bursts of passion. Legacy. A consistent life leaves a trail of virtue that outlives the moment. Epictetus compared life to training in the gymnasium. The body grows only through repeated effort. So too with the soul. The complainer quits before strength forms. The disciplined endure until strength is second nature. To complain is to stop. To endure is to grow. Consistency turns weakness into strength and time into legacy. Discipline as legacy, the monument of a strong life. All flesh fades, wealth crumbles, monuments erode, fame is forgotten. Yet character endures. What remains after death is not what you possessed, but who you were and how you lived. The Stoics believe that discipline carves a legacy deeper than marble. Seneca wrote, "A great man is one who has not lost his child's heart. But greater still is the one whose steady discipline becomes a silent teacher for generations." Beyond wealth and power, the complainer seeks recognition now, applause, comfort, possessions. But these die with him. The disciplined seek virtue, courage, justice, wisdom, temperance, and these endure. Marcus Aurelius never sought fame. His meditations were private notes, yet they became a guide for millions. Why? Because discipline leaves a mark beyond intention. How discipline echoes beyond life in memory. Those who endured without complaint are remembered with respect. In example, a father's discipline shapes children more than his words. In society, consistent justice builds trust that outlives the man. In the soul, virtue, once cultivated, cannot be taken, not even by death. Complaints leave nothing. What is the legacy of the complainer? Words of bitterness that vanish with the wind. Energy wasted, moments squandered, no trace left but regret. The disciplined, by contrast, leave quiet strength. They may never be celebrated, yet their lives ripple through time in the courage they inspired, the kindness they gave, the example they set, building the eternal monument. Live daily as example. Each act of patience, courage, discipline is a stone in your monument. Think beyond self. Serve others, not for praise, but for the hive. Face death calmly. Leave behind no fear, but serenity. Pass on virtue. Teach discipline not by speech, but by living it. The silent reward. The disciplined life may not earn statues or songs, but its true monument is invisible. Respect, trust, strength passed to those who follow. This is the only legacy that time cannot erase. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it." To embody discipline is to write it into eternity. Complaints vanish like smoke. Discipline stands like stone, and the stone becomes a monument, not to wealth, not to power, but to a life well lived.